really running short on time, but I would like to get a couple of questions here. So let's start with you, Yao. What are some steps that companies can take to mitigate the risk of being targeted with a COVID-19 securities lawsuit?
Thanks, Sal. So that's an important question for companies going forward, not only on the civil litigation side, but as Steve mentioned, on the SEC enforcement side as well, because there's going to be a lot of scrutiny, already has been, and will continue moving forward. So companies really need to look very closely at their existing risk disclosures, and not only their periodic reports and in the Qs, but also in everything that they put out with 8Ks and other public statements. They really need to look at their risk disclosures and consider what else they need to add in terms of identifying specific risks that are arising or have arisen from the COVID-19 pandemic. Also need to pay attention to, for example, item 303 of Reg SK that requires companies to describe known trends or uncertainties. And certainly the impact of COVID-19 might qualify there. And finally, something for public companies, especially to keep in mind, is their trading windows, because they'll need to be certain to disclose material, non-public information regarding the business impacts of COVID before their trading windows open, and they ought to think about that, and also not only the timing of the disclosures, but whether changes need to be made to such trading windows.
Excellent. Steve, same question to you, Steve Kaufhold. Some risk companies can take, some steps they could take to mitigate the risk of being targeted with a COVID-19 securities lawsuit.
I would say that the key thing is where Yao mentioned going back and looking at the existing disclosures. I think that's absolutely correct. And I would say secondarily, when you look at those disclosures, really think about what is the worst case situation that could affect the company going forward, and then disclose. I don't think anyone in the market or investors are going to be shocked to know that this pandemic places all kinds of potential risks on businesses, and I would encourage them to be very fulsome in the disclosures that they do make, because the real truth of the matter is, I think it's very hard to predict all the things that could go wrong, but to the extent that management have ideas about possibilities along those lines, it's much better to disclose them now, have them in the disclosures, than to have one of them, even if unlikely, come to fruition later, and then have a hindsight-based lawsuit against them or investigation that claims that they should have disclosed it.